All right, so today we got Jacki Liszak from the Fort Myers Beach Chamber to talk about Fort Myers Beach.
Yes.
So Jacki, tell us a little bit about what drew you to Fort Myers Beach, and then also why you think people do come to Fort Myers Beach.
Wow. A lot of question, but I was first on the beach in the early 70s as a kid. My folks came to vacation with friends. They'd heard about it, so they wanted to see it for themselves. And they ended up buying timeshare on the island. That's when all of that started happening. And from that point on, from the early 70s, every winter I spent on Fort Myers Beach from about like November till January. And I always say that I was like homeschooled on the beach. Back then it wasn't necessarily homeschooling, but we would spend our winter break down there. And obviously that's what began my love affair with Fort Myers Beach and my commitment to making it my permanent home as I grew older. And yeah, why people come? I mean, because it's a special, special place.
I think I'd have to agree. I was obviously born and raised there. But yeah, I mean, it's a great place. I think, a lot of people come, you got some of the best sand for sand castles. You've got some of the shallowest water. So it's super safe for kids and stuff like that. I love Southwest Florida because you have places like Fort Myers Beach, but you have places like San Isabel, you have places like Bonita Beach and things like that. And they're all kind of different in their own little unique way. But Fort Myers Beach has always been my favorite because it's got a little bit of everything to do. So, you got the nature, you've got the bars and the restaurants, spring break on the north end is pretty crazy sometimes, but you've got the south end that's a little quieter. You got Lover's Key and you got all these other different places, which is, why I think a lot of people do come to Fort Myers Beach. And it's always great to hear most people, when you talk to them, they've had a lot of history with the beach where their families were coming in the 60s or 70s or, things like that. It's just everyone seems to have a connection to Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, and it definitely grabs you. There's something special about it. Don't forget, it's arguably the best sunsets on the planet. I mean, honestly, I think we get some of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen anywhere. And the shelling is excellent.
And the Saharan dust right now is kind of contributing to it with different colors and things like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about that, it actually kind of knocks the hurricane strength down a little bit, and that's Saharan dust, which is good news for this year. But
for sure.
But yeah, so it's been 22 months since Hurricane Ian, and obviously we've come a long way as an island, but there's still a lot of work to go. So what are like some of the positive things that you've seen, like as far as businesses coming back, and where are we at as far as like the amount of businesses that were online before versus now, hotel beds, things like that? What can you tell us about?
So I have to tell you, one of my takeaways is we didn't know what we didn't know, and we thought that even as bad as it was, you can't really wrap your head around the amount of time it's going to take to get back to where we were. And, we're doing amazing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we are leaps and bounds beyond any other community who has been in a similar circumstance. At this point, I believe that we're way ahead of a lot of those other communities, but yet there's so much to be done. And we learned that community is of paramount importance. How our community pulled together, the way people have supported each other, standing shoulder to shoulder, helping each other dig out, getting propped up by someone else when you're down a little bit, and then propping someone else up when they're down. We see this over and over and over on the beach, and it's businesses helping businesses, residents helping residents helping businesses, all the way around. So I think we've come a long way. We have a long way to go yet, but just the human spirit, the sense of community. I go back to, we are a special place. We are very unique. There's something special about this little 7 Mile Island that is like nowhere else on the planet, in my opinion. And yes, I live there. Yes, it's my home, but I've traveled quite a bit, and I know people continue to keep coming back to this island generation after generation because it is special, and because whether you're there an hour or you live there full time, you're still an honorary resident for the day. And you come as a visitor and you fall in love and you stay and become a resident or a business owner. So, we're seeing that happen now. We have new businesses coming in, a lot of our old favorites returning, but some new folks joining us. So that's pretty exciting. With hotel rooms, we're at about 41% of which I'll say hotel rooms, but vacation rental and hotels, so accommodations, about 41% of where we were before the storm. We've got just roughly about 1,200 hotel rooms open, and then the balance vacation rentals, maybe 600, 650, something in there. And we're seeing the vacation rentals come back pretty consistently now as new homes are being built and people are renovating and repairing existing. I expect to see us around just under 1,400 hotel rooms when the Lani Kai and the Best Western open, hopefully sometime later this summer, early fall. And then, folks, that'll be it on hotel rooms until we get new stock built. I mean, we might have some smaller little hotels coming open, but we lost 90% of our boutique hotels, the small ones. And unfortunately, those are not going to come back anytime soon. It's going to take them a little bit longer. So I think we're going to sit at that. I think we'll see some of the vacation rentals infill some of that as far as accommodations. Bars and restaurants, we have over 50 bars and restaurants open in and around the island. So that's pretty exciting. Everything from fine dining indoors to little taco trucks and, hot dog trucks. People are in containers under tents. Gosh, talk about how creative people can be, right? With dining and bar options. And there's tons of live music. We've got all of our water sports up and running, our tours, our dolphin tours, pirate tours, sunset tours, charters, fishing and pleasure. We've got all of our parasailing and jet skis, and all of those water sports are up and running. Cabana rentals. Our Mound House is open, which is our historic home on the island. So that gives folks an opportunity to do something cultural. We're slowly opening some of our other parks. Obviously, the beach is open and available to everyone. And, of course, we have our Bayside Park is open with free music every Sunday, 4 to 7 p.m. We have a lot of folks taking advantage of that. So there's plenty to see and do on and around Fort Myers Beach. Just got to get out there.
Yep. And I think, the thing with that community too is, it's great to have these nice buildings and all that and things like that. But I think with these food trucks and things like that, it's proven how great of a community it is because the people are still coming. And
almost all of them were existing businesses beforehand. Almost every single one. I think we probably have 3 or 4 that are not, but there's a dozen that are. That were businesses here before the storm. So again, there's that testament to the resiliency of, I've been knocked down, but I'm not out, and we're going to fight our way back. And I think you see that playing out over and over.
Right. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in the north end, but not as much on the south end yet. We've heard some news about Santini Plaza and a couple other things that might be coming on next season. Mm-hmm. How important is it to get stuff on the south end back up?
Critically important. I mean, we need Santini open. It is the commercial center of the South End, obviously. My understanding is that should be opening in October. I know that some of those folks in there, some of the store owners are already actively working inside their space. So that's really exciting. We need the dining options down there. The bulk of our residents in the winter, our snowbird residents, are on the South End in those condos. But many of those condos still aren't online. I know that we should be seeing them coming along here through the rest of the summer into the fall. I've just got word of another one today that they're hoping they thought they'd be open by now, but then they got set back because they found some stuff underground that nobody knew was there as they were trying to redo their parking lot. So they're pushed back a month or two, but it is happening. And then once we see those residents coming in, they'll be able to support what's happening in Santini Plaza. It's kind of a silver lining maybe in that Santini didn't open and there aren't merchants in there trying to survive through the slower season because they will need those folks from those condos to help them survive, once they do get up and running. So I do kind of see that as working together right now. And I think it's a good thing all the way around that the timeline's progressing like it is.
We're more year round every year, but we still have that January through May is when, influx. It's a huge influx of people coming in. So we want to make sure we have stuff open for them to be able to continue to come and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
So we've seen some potential renderings of Times Square and we've got the peer funding was approved by the state and all that kind of stuff.
So, correct. Thank you to our commissioners for that. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Lee County. How important is that area to the beach? Now there's nothing there really. You've got a few businesses open, obviously, and you had the farmers markets come back, which is great, but you still got a lot of rubble you're looking at there. So how important is that redevelopment for the future of the island and all that good stuff?
That's our active center. That is our downtown district. That is the most intense area, the things with the most activities going on. We kind of call our mid-island area the heart of our island, but that's really our downtown active center. And so it's very, very important. It's incredible to me what people have managed to do with what is there right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to give a shout out to all those owners on Times Square, because this is the first time in the history of that area that all of the owners are working together. And it's going to be so important that they continue that collaboration so that they can put together a vision that's going to serve not only them, because obviously they're business people and they're there to make a living. That's their job and that's their investment, but also to serve the wider community. Because you have to remember, Fort Myers Beach, while we live there, we love it. It's our home. We have our businesses there. We are Lee County's playground, and Southwest Florida for that matter. We're their beach. So when they come down and spend the day with us on the beach, they feel like they're at home just as much as we feel it like we're at home. So we need to get those businesses up, open, running, serving them, and obviously providing recreational activities and a place to come and enjoy time with family and friends. And I also mentioned this, I say it over and over like a broken record. You come on the beach one day to visit, the next thing you know, you're looking for property, right? You're either buying a house or a business. So that's how we all got here. We got to being mindful of that. But that area getting redeveloped, and I love that they're all working together and coming up with a plan that's going to serve the community as a whole, not only for us, because let's face it, right? We'll get to enjoy it, but it's going to be our children and their children. So we have to build something that's going to last there for the future generations to come.
Yeah, talking about new building codes and things like that too. I mean, once it's built back, I mean, it's going to be so much easier to open back up. Yes. It's not these 6, 8, 10 months before you can even get back and do things. So
you'll hope so, right? I mean, we're building more resilient. Obviously, we have to go up in the air where it's required by FEMA. We don't have any choices. It's evident looking at the beach now, the newer construction works. It's what's there. And if there is something older still there, it's because, by the grace of God, it was protected by another building, or, we have these discussions all the time. Why did this make it and that didn't? How come this is still there and that's not? But, that's it. It's really evident that those newer buildings survived, and there's a reason they're being built the way they are. And we just kind of have to adapt our thinking about how we live, work, and play around those kind of structures. We're just going to be up in the air a little bit more.
Yep. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the pier is actually Lee County's #1 tourist attraction.
It is absolutely.
And it will be again. And I actually even think I saw on the stats that it was the 15th, even though it's not even there anymore. So it just shows you how important that is to not
see it.
Yeah, not only to Fort Myers Beach, but to Lee County in general. I mean, most people that visit Lee County, and this goes in the traffic problem too, is I don't think the traffic problem is necessarily on the island. It's all the people that come and visit Lee County that like to come on the island.
Well, and it's traffic. And look, traffic's a whole nother discussion. We could talk an hour about it. I mean, in 1935, they opened the bridge. It was 50 cents to get on. And guess how long you waited? An hour. Guess what? We're still waiting an hour. It's one road and it has one direction each way. You can only put so many cars in. You can only get so many cars out. Traffic is just going to be with us for the duration. It's how we manage it. It's being able to allow folks a place to be able to get out of their car and walk, and let them keep walking instead of getting in and out of their car while they're here for their stay. Park your car, leave your car, and then provide them other ways to get around. I think we have some great creative solutions coming forward. Obviously the tram, the trolley that runs all year round, and then the tram that Lee County provides us during season is critical. And the water taxi discussion is happening. So that's very exciting. I know that a lot of the new projects coming forward are talking about adding additional parking for visitors and guests as a public benefit. I think that definitely needs to be discussed, but we have to continue to manage it. And unfortunately, until we get more goods and services on the island, like a hairdresser, like a nail salon, like a liquor store, like a print shop, I could go on and on, a doctor, all of these different, a massage therapist, we are all leaving the island every single day to come out to take care of goods and services that we don't have available to us on the island. So that's compounding the traffic. And we have a lot of construction. So we have construction folks coming on and coming off. So it's a complicated problem. I don't think necessarily there'll ever be a solution. There's never not going to be traffic. We're a barrier island. We're a resort destination. We have visitors coming. But we do have to be mindful of some of the choices we're making as we go forward. Not only, as far as the road's concerned, remember, we're going to get our new roundabout here coming along shortly at the base of Matanzas Pass Bridge. So that will help to, take care of some of that. But even as new development comes in, we need to be mindful of how you're going to move these cars back and forth. And I don't think we're going to have, for probably a decade at least, an issue with, we're not going to get back up to the number of hotel rooms that we had for a long time. So, the argument about more hotel rooms causes more traffic. I'm not, I don't necessarily buy that at this point. I don't think we're going to be there for a number of years yet. But the construction's going to add to it. Certainly all of us leaving the island multiple times a day.
All the trucks and the contractors, they can't stop and go very fast.
I have 4 family members that live in my house. Each one of us has a car. Every day one of us leaves. We all leave the island at least once to do something, to buy something, to go to a doctor appointment, to go to whatever, whereas, a lot of this stuff was on the island previously. So we have to get some of these commercial spaces open and get our commercial businesses back onto the island. A bank.
Yeah.
How about that?
Be nice,
right? Bank would be good, right? Anybody listening out there, bank.
Cash liquor store. We need those on the island.
We need clothing stores. We need gift shops.
Yeah.
We have a few. We don't have very many. So, we need to get kind of that bulk of things to do, because when people come down, they want to have those things to do too. You want to go to the beach, you're going to love that. You do some water sports, you're out on the water, etc. But, the ladies like to shop, the gentlemen like to shop. You got to have some of those activities too.
Yeah, fully agree with that. So we've had a few smaller approvals come through recently. You had the Whale, which is great, and they've already started drilling the pilot.
Around, it's looking good. Yeah. They were out. They worked all holiday weekend long out there.
Yep.
Like crazy.
You got the 7-Eleven coming back. The Cottage got their last approvals they needed. And then Myerside. That was huge.
A big one. Yep.
You're bringing 49 units back onto the island, and you're also going to have some commercial space too. And although that's not going to be ready for a couple of years, I think that's such a great project for that part of town to, like you said, to have doctors offices.
That's kind of what we consider the heart of the island, or what has been considered the heart of the island. It's kind of the area where you had, the town facilities, and then you had the school, and you have the library, and you have kind of that whole center of the island there. So that does sit nicely right in there. I loved the design that they came forward with. I thought it was very island appropriate. I always say we're kind of like South Carolina meets Key West.
Yep.
We're kind of in that middle somewhere, right? We have our own unique vibe. I love the nod to the history of the island. I get a lot of questions about, aren't we going to lose our who we are, with the big giant buildings and big giant houses and all of that. And listen, I worry about that too. Don't think I don't. I want to see people come forward with design that's a nod to who we are, to our uniqueness, to our island vibe, and our what we call our funkiness. And I feel like they did a nice job with that, with incorporating, the way the architecture looks and different overhangs and design elements. I thought that was great. And I love that it wasn't higher than the library next door. I think it's appropriate there. It looks nice. It's on the boulevard. It will serve the community well. And let's remember, too, those folks are island residents.
Right.
They bought a distressed property. They brought it up. They ran a very successful boutique hotel, and we're continuing to improve the property. Those are the folks that we want, our island residents and our island businesses, to come back. So
yeah, that was always a problem property before the current owners came in and cleaned it up. So it's a huge upgrade for the island.
You have no idea what went on that property. And it's a stone's throw to the school. And there was all kinds of, drug activity and things like that going on there. And they cleaned that up and made that area safe for our kids. It's the school, the Bay Oaks, and the pool, and they were right there with the library, and there were, people there doing stuff that was bad behavior.
I remember growing up in the early 90s, and, my dad said, you can ride your bike wherever you want, but don't go past Bay Oaks. You can't go past there.
Yeah, that's so sad to me, right? It shouldn't be like that. So they came in and they took a chance on our community and helped to improve it, really. And so here we go again. I think, none of us asked for our businesses to be taken away. I owned one of the small hotels as well. I didn't ask for that to get taken away. And so now we're dealt this hand, and we have to do the best we can with it. But it has to make sense. And it is a business, and it has to make money, but it also has to serve the community. I know folks have a lot of hard opinions on this stuff, and rightfully so. You're entitled to those opinions, but it's complicated. And you have to look at all aspects. You can't have one without the other. We are a four-legged stool on Fort Myers Beach. We have business, we have residents, we have visitors, and we have government. You have to have all of those things work together to make the fabric of a community, because fabric's no good if it's missing some of the threads.
Oh, 100%. I mean, with what happened, of course, you never wish that on anybody, but, that what happened was something that doesn't normally happen. And, it really wiped a lot of things out.
Taught us a lot of lessons, right?
Yeah.
It's been interesting.
So we talked about a couple of maybe smaller developments. We've seen some proposals for some much larger developments. You got Seagate at Red Coconut, you got London Bay at the old Outrigger, and you got Arches Bayfront, which I think would be a great project to kind of complete the downtown area, all that good stuff.
Sure.
Maybe they're going to have to come down on their height a little bit and things like that. But how important is it to get something like at least one of those projects approved to continue the build back?
So to continue critically important. All of it is critically important. And let me point out yet again, these are local businesses and local families. There are no outside developers coming in, big bad wolf. These are community businesses that are based in our community. One's in Naples, one's in Fort Myers, and one is a local family that's been here for 40 plus years. So these are our people reinvesting in our community. And yes, these are big projects. And look, I'll be the first one to say, I don't love all of this stuff the very first time I'm seeing it. I have talked with all of these owners. I sit with them. We review things. I challenge them on things. I'm not a big fan of the height, honestly. And I've told them that to their face. They know that. But I understand financially that you have to put certain things in place in order to pay for the project as a whole. And I'm working on rebuilding and fixing up my house from the storm. Listen, stuff's doubled in cost. I mean, I'm having to give up things in order to get other things because of the cost of what the project is. So I understand that financially certain things have to happen. You want to do the highest and best use of the parcel. There are not a lot of parcels that are this size, these sizes. So everybody's like, we're going to get run over. Well, no, you're not going to get run over because the majority of our island is residential. It's small homes. Or small little parcels of land that had small businesses on it. We only have a handful of big parcels of land that can support developments like these. These happen to be 3 of them. Yeah, I think, there might be 1 or 2 others, but, I think these will probably the 3 biggest things that we're going to see coming in the next probably 5 years at least.
Some people think, okay, you give them some height and now you're going to have, 30 or 40 high rises on the beach, which there's not the amount of parcels really there to build those kind of properties.
Yeah, and I just don't see that happening. Look, we are all engaged in this process. And if you have an opinion, I challenge you to get engaged. Come forward, step up, get on a committee, make your voice heard. This only works if everybody is working together at this stuff. And I just don't see that we're going to have high rises up and down the whole beach. Fort Myers Beach was formed because of the Diamond Head and because it was a high rise. And they said never again. But when they said never again, nobody who made those decisions, none of our founding fathers of the town of Fort Myers Beach could have envisioned what we've just gone through, could have envisioned the cost of what things are costing, could have envisioned the fact that FEMA is now stepping in, the federal government, and telling us what you can and can't build back and how strong and how high. And we have ADA compliance issues now. You need wider doorways, wider hallways, wider stairways. You need elevators. You need ramps. None of that existed or was necessary before, and nor could have any of them ever envisioned that. You have to incorporate that all into new building. You've got to have more tie downs. You've got to have thicker walls. You've got to have breakaway walls. You've got to have, more structure. You got to go up above whatever your flood elevation is and for whatever your property is. It all costs. But I challenge the folks who live on the island, who love our island, who participate in our community to continue to participate. And I challenge the developers to listen. And they're all good about that. But
that's the whole point of a community. Make your voice heard. And let's get through what is in the best interest of everybody as a community, not just 10% here, 10% there.
True.
Because it's going to be there for a long time. It's going to be there.
Generations.
Whatever's built is going to be there for generations and generations.
Long past we're here. We'll be dead and dust before, it could be our kids and their kids even long past them. So, the thing for me with all of these projects, people need to keep in mind, like when you go to buy a car in the car dealership, right? And there's a sticker price on the car, but that's never what you end up paying for the car, right? You got to do kind of the horse trading thing back and forth. And I think everybody is aware of that. They want to do their highest and best use, but they understand that, and I don't know why we all have to do it this way, but this is kind of the way you do it. You go in, you negotiate. Okay, I'll come down here. I might have to give up this, but maybe that'll work better. And I challenge the developers to keep the public benefit, which is, you're going to hear that over and over and over again, because it is in our comp plan and code. Public benefit is very important. What's in it for the community? What can the community participate in? I mean, I think, Margaritaville is a great example. They fought a long and hard fight to get where they are. And honestly, in my opinion, and it's only worth what it's worth, which is absolutely nothing except being my opinion,
Right.
If that hotel wasn't open right now, we would be in a much worse off shape.
Oh, yeah.
They are driving the economy on Fort Myers Beach right now. I told the ownership that 3 days after the storm when I said, you are now the locomotive driving us into the future, because people are coming, people are staying there, and they're spreading out around the town and exploring and finding other places to eat and drink and things to do and tours and all of this stuff. They literally, those folks staying there are moving around our whole community and falling in love with it and spending their dollars, which is going to help get us through this season. And believe me, it's slow right now, and it's going to get slower before it starts to pick up for the fall. It's just, a lot of factors, right? It's not COVID anymore. People can travel anywhere they want. Everybody I know has been to Europe in the last 2 years, at least once. Yeah. I mean, people are going on cruises now where they weren't before. They were coming to us. So now people are spread out. So I think, we have to be mindful of the fact that the rising tide does lift all boats, and some of these bigger projects will help to bring new people into our island and will help to sustain the businesses and the residents, because guess what, guys? You can't live on this island. It can't just be residents. You couldn't afford the taxes then.
Right.
Because the businesses and the property tax from those businesses helps to fund, helps the general fund, helps to pay for all the goods and services that we have, helps for all of these improvements that we're getting. And we're thank you to Lee County, to the state of Florida, to the federal government for the support they've given us since the storm monetarily to the town. But that's not going to last forever. Those funds, at some point, that support will end, and we have to stand on our own feet. So it's a tough job. I thank our council and LPA and everybody else for doing those jobs. I don't envy those positions.
Yeah, and most of them didn't sign up for it either. They didn't know this was going to happen.
I mean, LPA is volunteers, guys. I mean, these guys are giving up their life to read packets that are 800 pages long. I mean, that takes a lot of time. You got to remember, these are volunteer positions, and then they get together and they make decisions. They're all residents. They all have different opinions. They don't always all agree, which is perfect. I love that. It's the purest form of democracy is at the local level, right? So they all agree, and then they give their wise counsel to the 5 town councilors, and those 5 councilors then decide what their constituents are telling them that they would like to see, and all of that feedback comes together. And then we have our town staff, obviously, who does a fabulous job, advising and researching and recommending or denying or whatever, and then giving reasons and going back and forth. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, which I had no idea. I mean, until I got in this job and really started to understand how this all works, I had no idea how much work goes into all of this stuff before a project even gets brought forward.
The amount of money these developers, even the smaller developers too, I mean, the amount of money they spend on these to give you some renderings and stuff like that, it's astronomical. Yeah. So, and what's been presented, it's all been very well thought out. Yep. I mean, obviously, I think they're probably going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit here and there and tweak some things, but I think they've definitely taken into account
to do some tapping. Yeah, so there's no doubt about it, as they should. As they should. I mean, this is a huge change to our community, and it's very scary. It's scary for me too. Listen, I've been here since I was a little kid. Do I like to see all this big stuff going up? No, I want my red coconut back. But the reality is, I also want, 50-cent gallon of milk and, $1 gallon of gas. And, I want, no wrinkles on my face. But that's just, gone. Those are gone. That's all gone.
Well, I think Times Square.
There'll never be a rocket. So let's move on.
And Times Square, too. I mean, it's like, we'd all love to have the same Times Square back, but it's not feasible. It's just, number one, the floodplain's that high. And
and we're behind the coastal control line. I mean, that's added another wrinkle into things. You can't build out past that. So that just adds a whole nother wrinkle into what those property owners can do with that property. It's, it complicates things. And to your point, it makes it expensive.
Oh, yeah. I remember me and my family built a home, I think it was 2016. Mm-hmm. And the amount of money it took to build the same house, it's double the cost. Isn't that crazy? Of about 10 years ago.
Like, how is this possible?
I mean,
like, what's going on? I don't know. It's a head scratcher sometimes, isn't it? You look at the cost of concrete and wood and, labor and, finding of the parts, and COVID didn't help that. And then of course we're coming out of COVID and get hit with this hurricane. And so that just kind of exacerbated all of that. And of course the Surfside collapse. I mean, that put a whole new wrinkle on the condo side of things, because now the condos are having to follow new rules and regulations and requirements that, we didn't have before. And all of those come with a price tag.
Yeah, we were talking about the milestone inspections the other day. That's a part of that. And, they're going to have
condo reserve study. Yeah. I mean, we have some legislation that they were working on this last session about the condo reserve studies. And, it was being required as of January, but most of our condos on the beach what reserve? There was no reserve left.
Exactly.
Let alone they've already had to assess folks. There's no way you can continue to assess folks for a study of a reserve that doesn't exist. I'm like, so, we were kind of having these conversations, trying to get some relief for them. Not that they shouldn't have to do it, but give our condos in our Tri-County area here that were hit, give them some extra time to kind of, put their buildings back together and get people back home. And then we can step into those other things.
Right, because I mean, some of these other areas that weren't hit with the hurricane, they're struggling with that stuff. Sure, so on top of that, they're all getting basically cleaned out by what happened.
I have friends who have condos in St. Pete Beach, and they have gotten huge assessments because of what happened with Surfside and also the condo reserve study. And they're going back. And then because of what happened with our condos on Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel, with all of the electrical systems, the water pumps, the fire suppression, all of that being on the ground floor. So a number of these condos up there are proactively lifting that equipment up to the second and third floors. That is not inexpensive, but they're doing it ahead of, which I think is wonderful. It stinks that they're having to assess everybody, but I think it's really smart for them to be proactive on that and get that stuff off the ground. Because listen, the reality is it's not when, it's not if it's going to hit, it's when.
Right.
Exactly. Because we live in a hurricane-prone state. It's what our natural disaster is here. And you can argue, why do you live there? But, why do you live in Kansas and Oklahoma with tornadoes? Why do you live in, California with wildfires? Why do you live in Hawaii with volcanoes? I mean, we live where we live, right? It's our home.
Exactly.
So you just kind of have to deal with the natural disaster that's, the one that
at least,
you.
We know it's coming, or at least have an idea of where it's coming, because a lot of people did kind of get off guard because they always tend to hook in a little.
Yeah, we got a little cocky, didn't we all?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of, it can't be us. I mean, why would that ever happen to us?
Yeah, well, that's Floridians for you right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2024 season was a little short. You had Easter pretty early, but next year we got an extended Easter. We're going to have a little bit longer of a season.
It's good news.
What do you envision next year, and what are you looking forward to in next year's season?
I was just over at the Pink Shell just before this, talking with their leadership team there, and they're looking at pretty good booking numbers. Fall obviously is going to taper off a little bit, but they're looking they feel confident in a solid 2025 season, and our season's running obviously some probably beginning of November-ish to Easter, just after Easter. Once all the graduation season kicks in, then that kind of dies off. But I'm hearing of some nice bookings coming in, some solid reservations, lots of requests. Folks are out there listening who are thinking about coming down to join us for next season. Absolutely come. The beaches are beautiful. The water's been fantastic. I had my toes in it last night. It's like bath water right now. And our blues and greens and aquas and teals are amazing. Our water quality looks really, really nice. But I encourage you to book now, because we don't have as many rooms available as we did. So if you want to stay on the island, you may want to be a little proactive and get those reservations in now.
So where do you see the future of Fort Myers Beach 5 years from today? So it'll be basically 7 years post Ian. I think it's going to be one of the top 10 beaches in the whole entire country.
I agree.
What are you looking forward to seeing, and what are some of your thoughts on just the future, 5 years from now?
Well, I think continued recovery efforts, right? We'll have a lot more buildings up. We'll have a lot more homes up. The ones that are going up are adorable. I mean, we have all these beautiful colors coming out. All these pinks and greens and teals and blues and yellows, and all this fun architecture. Our landscapes going back in. But 5 years from now, I think it will continue to fill in a moderate pace. I don't think it's going to be any kind of crazy rush. I think we'll have thoughtful design. And I think we're going to have a world-class destination for our visitors and guests to come to, but also for our residents to live in. I believe strongly that our community is not going anywhere. I know these folks, they're tenacious. We're tenacious. We're not giving up the ghost. for a little storm. We're here, we got our roots, sunk in pretty deep, and we're raising children who love this island just like we do. And our grandchildren are now coming back and asking to come back to Pop Scott's beach or Nana Jackie's beach. And, so they already have that in their head. I think our future is incredibly bright. I think we are still undervalued if you compare us to real estate around the state on barrier islands.
100%.
I mean, our barrier island, while it's expensive to us, it still costs less to buy a piece of property here than it does in some comparable other barrier islands.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, there was a record sale for like $6.2 million right after the storm.
Yep.
But now there's a contract on new construction on the south end that's listed at 11.9.
Holy
So that's a Bonita
Pearl,
Beach.
can you believe?
Yeah. It's a 75-foot wide lot, but that's a Bonita Beach price that's coming up to our island, new construction.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, the sky's really the limit.
Yeah, here's the newsflash, folks. It's the same view, right? Whether you're down in
And
Naples,
it's a better beach because it's a wider beach.
It's the same view. I mean, and we still get these beautiful sunsets, and we got this gorgeous white sand and these beautiful wide beaches. And by the way, we have seashells too. I mean, look, it was always surprising to me that we didn't command the same price. We were like this sleepy little secret that nobody knew about.
Oh, yeah.
The cat was already out of the bag before the storm. I mean, it had already started to happen. So we would have gotten there. I think the hurricane kind of kicked it into high gear for us. But our community, for what we have on this small island, from what our town offers, this beautiful, we're going to get a whole new pool in our Bay Oaks Rec Center, and we have a historical home that's on the National Register of Historic Places with an archaeological dig underneath it. I mean, come on, look, we're on the Blue Water paddling trail. We've got, we can get to the airport in 30 minutes and go anywhere in the world that we want to. We've got world-class ballet and arts and theater and shows all around us. Within 30 minutes drive, you can go to as much cultural stuff as you can possibly handle. We've got Edison Ford Estate, which is, historical. We've got all kinds of great museums. Listen, it's a pretty neat little place to live, no matter what your job is, no matter what you really are into. There's things for you to do here.
Oh, yeah. I think if you're getting into Southwest Florida, there's no better time than get in than now.
No,
Get in now. Get in before it starts growing even
Put
more.
your roots down. Bring your family.
Yep.
I mean, we need families. Look, we got the Everglades on our doorstep. My goodness. I mean, it's gorgeous out there. The Everglades, if you haven't been on an airboat ride yet, you haven't lived. It's a huge thing.
So how can people help support the Fort Myers Beach Chamber and then also support the island as well?
Well, gosh, support the island. Please come stay with us, enjoy what we have to offer. Be vocal, tell folks we're open for business, tell folks that we need you to come back and establish new memories, help us make new memories, help us be a part of the Renaissance, as one of our town council members, Jim, says all the time. It's the Renaissance of Fort Myers Beach. And, come be a part of that fabric, be a part of our community. And with the chamber, just spread the word. Come on out and volunteer. We have our Visitor Information Center down at Times Square open. We're always looking for volunteers. We've got our American Sand Sculpting Championships coming back in November, the 21st to the 24th. It'll be a return after 4 years of absence because of COVID and the storm. So this is a long-standing tradition. We are the American Championships, so it's going to be incredible. We're going to involve the whole island in that and get everybody engaged. Again, we have our Bayside Concert Series every Sunday. Come on out. Just come have some fun. Take a breather, take a staycation, whether you come for an hour or you come for a few days or a month. We'd love to have you. Come on, join us.
Don't wait at the restaurants in town. Come on out to the beach, watch the sunset, and then eat dinner. Yeah.
The Biz-Art Convention Bureau is doing a number of promotions right now, too, that you can, there's all kinds of specials going on all over the island. Everything from $15 a pound crab legs to twin lobster tails to half-price pizza, happy hours all over. So the food that's being served up, we have some of the best restaurants. I mean, we have incredible food. On Fort Myers Beach, on San Carlos Island and up the way, and then, of course, down to Bonita. So come on out and explore a little bit. Try something different that you haven't tried before.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything on the island that's a bad place to go.
No, I agree with you.
I've never had a bad meal anywhere on Fort Myers Beach in my entire life.
Nor bad service. I mean, remember, we got a lot of service folks out here that need to, feed their families, so we got to keep them busy as well.
Where can we find information about the chamber? How can we help? If you're a business, join the chamber.
Yep, absolutely. We love to have any business join us in membership. You don't have to be on the island. You can be anywhere in the Tri-County area. And as part of that, you become kind of ingrained or engrossed into our community. And we also are big believers in not only be working just in our community and on the island, but also off island with our off island partners. So that's really important that we have that kind of breadth of vision of all the different things that are going on in Southwest Florida, Lee County, because it kind of helps us shape our community as well. You can find us at fortmyersbeach.org. You spell it all out, FORTMYERSBEACH.org. That's our chamber's website. Once you get on there, we have all kinds of resources, everything from, the quality of the water. We have a camera page with all of our live cams on it. We have lists of where you can stay, play, dine, different services on the island. Whether you need someone to help with painting or construction or plumbing or whatever, that's all listed on there as well. Our Roxy Visitor Information Center, we have tons of coupons there, maps, things like that. So come on down. You're welcome to stop by and visit the folks there, and they can get you loaded up with coupons for money off or free things, which is always great fun. And, just come out. We really need people to continue to come and see us and then spend some time with us out on the beach. And the chamber, like I said earlier, our job is to represent everyone in the community. Yes, the businesses, but also the visitors and the residents, because all of us together are what makes it work. If you do get a chance to, we have a number of nonprofits on the island that continue to need your support. We have a couple of churches on the island that need support. Hopefully our library will be opening soon as they can get that elevator up and running. Our beach school, if you have school-age, elementary-age school children, you are entitled to bring your children to our beach school. It doesn't matter where you live. So, reach out to us. We can help you get information on that. We are an A-rated school with very low teacher-to-student ratios, and we are now partnering with the FGCU Water School. So we're going to be a water STEAM magnet school, which is really exciting. So the kids there will get a really good hands-on experience as they go through those grades with water studies and learn about our fragile environment.
Oh yeah, it's all fun, important stuff. I did all the summer camps at Bay Oaks back in the day, and all that. And those are some of the funnest times. I remember we went out to Cayo Costa. You went into town a couple of times too, but you did a lot of stuff out there on the beach and learned stuff about the history and things. So.
They're going to get the kids engaged with different types of scientific studies and data collection, so that'll be really great. And they're also working with Friends of Lovers Key and Lover Key State Park, which is our beautiful state park just south of us. And by the way, number 1 or 2 visited state park in the state of Florida, which is beautiful. They have a beautiful museum up there, the Welcome and Discovery Center. And that's got a great exhibit and a cute little gift shop. So make sure you pop in there and check that out if you come down to see us. But the kids, the beach school kids, will be actively engaged with the students at FGCU that are doing water studies, and then also with Lovers Key. So that's going to kind of all work together. And then the chamber has a water foundation, it's fairly new. It started right before COVID and then had to, take a few pauses till we can get through all of this. The water foundation is actively supporting the school. And then we just deployed a water monitoring system behind the Mound House to monitor the Back Bay waters.
Oh, nice.
And it's working in conjunction with a series of other monitors up and down the whole Back Bay area. And that data is being fed into FGCU's water school. So they're using that for research study now too. So kind of all of those things are happening together. Our different nonprofits like the Women's Club, Community Foundation, the Lions Club needs help for shrimp festivals. So get engaged with them. Certainly that's one of our premier events on the island. So we want to make sure that comes in March. They'll be needing help for that as we move through the summer toward that. Get involved with some of these nonprofits, the Friends of the Arts, the art associations trying to build their building back. So they're going to need some assistance. We've got, like I said, a whole bunch of nonprofits that's all on our website, and help out where your heart speaks. If you have some free time and you want to get on one of the town's committees, the town has committees, and we need residents to get engaged. And we need younger residents to get engaged too. We know you're out there. We know they're there. We just, it's hard to find the younger folks sometimes. Yeah. So we got to find ways to get them out and engaged in the community.
Well, that all sounds great. So if you're a local, donate your time, donate money, and most importantly, come out to the beach, come watch the sunset,
engage.
Support businesses, and see what's going on out there.
And make new memories, right? Bring your friends, bring your family, make some new memories. Get out there and give your children and their children reasons to continue to come back to this very, very special part of the world.
And this season, we're going to have fresh sand on the beach, too. The beach cleaner
Oh, yes. That's
is starting on the 15th. So that's huge. You get all the nice sand back out there. And
that's
in time for the
great.
season.
You know, I didn't even mention the turtles. You know, we're on pace to have a record turtle season right now. I didn't even know that. I mean, they are coming in. It's fantastic.
I was walking by the beach by Gulf Side 12, and there was 15 nests.
Holy
within
moly.
Like marked nests are in with the yellow around them and everything within a 5-minute walk.
What? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting in the morning to go out there and to see the new fresh tracks as, you know, where they came in and, you know, spun around and did their deal and then went back out. But, you know, what's going to happen shortly now is we're almost at that point where the nests start to hatch.
Yep.
So if you're lucky and you happen to be out there in the dark in the evening, remember, no flash photography. Don't put a light on them. You should be able to see by the light of the moon. You'll see the babies coming out and heading back into the Gulf. So, you know, those folks do some great work, and I know they're patrolling the beach every morning.
Yep.
You know, the other thing, too, when you do come out, if you're out on the beach, please take your trash with you. You know, please stop and take a minute and look around. Make sure you pick up everything you brought with you. And if you see something else, take that along with you, too, because we're trying to obviously keep the beach clean for the turtles, but we do still have some stuff coming up every time we have a little bit of wave action and whatnot. Town's been great about cleaning it up, but they can't be everywhere all the time, so everybody do your part.
Yeah, bring a couple of grocery bags with you on your beach trip, and
every little
pick
bit
up a
helps.
grocery bag and
Every little bit helps.
Do your part to keep the beach.
Every little bit helps, for sure.